Some of my colleagues already gave you some insights of things that they are working on next. I just wanted to give you also some highlights. Of course, we cannot say everything, because it's in the last years we also worked, like before starting the next version, after a release, we put together like the list of major things that we want to focus on. So we created like a roadmap document, and we are discussing this after we make a release. What should we focus next, and see how we prioritize things, and try to group them, because we register on our Jira like thousands of improvements and things, and then we took some direction and we try to collect the things that relate to that part and put them together so we can provide that functionality, let's say, in the following release. As you probably know, in the last years it happened that we released like one major version per year in the last, I don't know, years, so many years. But we did that like 11 months or so. So from this year we decided to stabilize this a bit, because it was very difficult when we moved across New Year and Christmas. With 11 months, you know, we were like, oh, New Year, oh, Christmas, oh. So we decided that we should go with one major release still per year, but having that stable around October, November in that part, rather than trying to go like 11 months and have this part. And between these, we have a minor release. So we just released, I think, in April or March. And so the following major release will be somewhere in October, probably. And we also have some maintenance builds as needed. So when we find some issues or something. Plus, what Alex said, with the add-ons, it's a very nice opportunity for us to bring something quicker on the market, because with the plugin has a completely different release cycle, so we can ship every 2 weeks if we want to. So it's very easy to put something and make it available to you. We investigated also using, making some interesting things with artificial intelligence. We made an add-on that will provide some completions you can try. It was already made available, and I think some of our team is still working on improving that. Bina has a new version, major version coming out, Bina 2.0. We already support parts of that, but we will be working on that as well. As Octavian mentioned, the JSON support is more or less equivalent with XML. In the end, it's a similar abstract model behind both, right? So, and what Octavian presented with the JSON, if you found something interesting, that surely is available also for XML, because we just bring what we have for XML for that model. Of course, we still are keeping up with XSLT and XQuery. The major things, however, on this area are new Saxon releases that we try to integrate. We also have a plugin that brings different versions of Saxon available. So even, let's say there's a new Saxon release, we'll release a plugin that brings that as an engine in Oxygen. So you can still use that. But for the internal debugger, so that's a major work, because the integration is more tight, and there was no debugging API available. So as you can imagine, we did a lot of coupling, and where there's a new Saxon, it's difficult. Actually, it takes us sometimes months of development to implement that. The development team experimented also with making available an IntelliJ plugin for the JSON support, and maybe we'll bring some of the XML functionality also available as an IntelliJ plugin for people that want to take advantage of what we offer, but they are mainly on IntelliJ as the platform. For Schematron and Schematron Prefix, there are also some improvements on our roadmap. And the major one, I think, is for Schematron compared with that terminology checker, is that Schematron does, you can check something, but you cannot localize the error to a specific word in a text. Right? So then you provide an error, but you highlight an element. And it's difficult then for a user to actually see where is the actual error. So we are looking also into this. For the prefixes part, there were some requests to apply all fixes. I have some concerns because when you apply a first fix, then the others may not be there because the document changed. But still, we can try something like that. For the web authoring, the concurrent editing was one of the highlights, and we are working to distribute that on multiple servers. And, there are things that we can still improve on that. Making available more plugins and also a data map editor within the web author. The content fusion will evolve to have better support for Git, for projects, for working with Git projects. So you will not require, let's say, the connection between the desktop anymore. You can just link Fusion to a Git repository and then create the use tasks directly from that and be able to edit content. Sorry. On the publishing side, the feedback will already knows where the output is. So we plan to provide also search via feedback. So it will provide the search support. Right now, the webhelp has built-in search support, but the feedback can provide that if it's already integrated. And another thing is to aggregate multiple publications. So when you deploy, like in our case, we deploy, I don't know, 10, 15 webhelp for different products. We may want to combine them together. So when you search across all of them or something like that. And on the chemistry, we have some requests to embed video or QR codes. So these are some of the highlights. But as you know, we always listen to you, to your feedback, and we try to integrate that. Even sometimes it takes some years, but sometimes it takes some weeks. Depends. I don't know. Depends on. So yeah, feel free to fill in those forms that we provided. We always compile them and we discuss them really each of those requests when we go back home. Another thing, somebody mentioned to me that I didn't specify the div tools from Oxygen because they are really useful. So Oxygen provides three-way XML-aware div and merge support. And this is available not as an independent tool, but it's a tool that can be started from Oxygen, separate from Oxygen. So you can start the div tools directly as like a separate application. They are part of the Oxygen author, developer, and editor distribution. And they are really useful to integrate with an external Git client, for instance, to perform the conflict resolution or to see the div, because it's impossible sometimes when you have a conflict that involves XML files to manage that without special XML support. The div was also available in the web author. We made that available in the web author, so you can have a link that allows people to see visually, follow that link and see the changes between two XML files also visually. And that's also very useful. We use it, for instance, in conjunction with on our Jira, when somebody will commit on the documentation and we push a message in Jira that something was changed in the documentation. We also have a link to that web div
that allows you to see what actually changed in the documentation. So this kind of scenarios is quite useful. So I don't know how is the time, but I think we are a bit over your lunch break. So thank you very much. We will be here, so feel free to get in touch with us during the event, and enjoy XMLPrague, and we'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.